Guys, this is Evan from Stock Music Musician, and I guess I need to do a follow-up on the video that I did last week about does Reason suck? My conclusion there was no, it does not suck, but it doesn't work as well for me as it used to. There's been a lot of comments. It escalated much more quickly than I had anticipated, so instead of replying individually, I think I just need to make a video, let you know where I stand, and sort of respond to the comments as they come in. The first thing I want to do is just say that I was just sharing my opinion. I feel like as somebody that runs a channel on Reason, it's fair for you guys to know what my feelings are, where they stand today. I didn't feel like I was being transparent or honest with you if I were to keep making a bunch of Reason videos and not acknowledge that it's no longer my primary DAW. That doesn't mean that it sucks, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to stop making videos about Reason. But I'm going to be focused only. I want to have something to say about it. Alright, now let's get into the groups of questions that I saw on that last video. I'll put a link to that video in case you have something else to add there. First of all, that video was clickbait. No, I don't think it was clickbait. The way clickbait works is to try and make money or do something. There's no money to be made in running a channel on Reason. Like, you get paid $5 a video. Maybe $10 a video. That's like not clickbait. If I was doing something on Jon Snow's real father, that people would care about that. Like, lots of people would care, and then I'd make enough money to make it worth my while. That's not why I made the video. So why did I make the video? Well, like I said previously, I didn't feel like I was being fully transparent with you guys if I was principally using a different DAW while still running a channel about Reason, so I feel like I have to come clean. What am I using now? That's another big question I got. I'm using Logic Pro X, and I'm really enjoying it. That doesn't mean that I don't enjoy using Reason. As I said in that video, I'm still using Reason. I use it about 20 to 30% of the time. I'm using Logic 60% of the time, and then I use Machine sometimes to get my ideas started. Machine is another DAW, much like Reason, that is really powerful and good at some things, but is really limited in making full music in lots of quantities. What I had found previously, up until now, and I've been using Reason for 15 years or so, is that Reason had generally grown with me, like at a similar pace, or that I could at least wait for the next iteration to grow with it, or that it was just ahead of me, and then I would grow with it. So, that includes things like adding more instruments in its earlier era, or adding audio recording, or adding VST capabilities, or adding sampling. All of these things were coming in right around the time that I was looking for them, and they gave me enough to do that's what I was focused on. But there hasn't been a major revolutionary change to the Reason UI, to the Reason platform in years. In fact, in 2016, I made two videos actually, talking about many of these same shortcomings and more about Reason. So a lot of you said I was being nitpicky. That's fair. That's totally fair. But these are things that Reason doesn't do great. It doesn't mean that it's a terrible piece of software. It just means that it doesn't work as well for what I need it to do. In many ways, a bicycle is a great tool, and so is a car. But you're not going to use them necessarily for the same thing. Some people can commute to work by bike, and some people can commute to work by car, but if you're going on a cross-country trip, there are different uses. Just like an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar are different. They're both cool. They're both great. But they have different uses, and the way I use my tool, my DAW, the way I'm looking to use my DAW tool is as more of a production tool to make songs faster. So another thing I heard kind of related to that is, well, things should take time. It's all part of the songwriting process. I agree. You don't want to rush through the parts of the song that are meaningful. But a lot of the things that I was talking about in that video, like the export, the MP3s, things like that, being able to see everything from Mixer, that's not enhancing the music production at all. That's detracting from the idea of rendering audio files. And ultimately, that's where my roadblock was coming in, was rendering audio files quickly enough. The next thing that I heard is that I'm totally right, and all of the points I made were correct. I agree. But that's just my opinion. I'm trying to explain how, as I've grown, Reason hasn't kept up with what I need from it. Some people on a similar vein said, well, you're not a professional. That's true. I am a semi-pro. I work full-time, so that's why you need my DAW to work for me even more. If I've got only 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week to put towards making music, if 10% of that time is going to be spent towards fighting with the DAW whose workflow doesn't work with what I'm trying to do, then I'm sort of wasting my time. And then I heard a bunch of comments saying that I'm wrong. Fair. I am open to criticism. Or that I'm not the best Reason user on earth. Sure. I have an idea what I'm doing. I know well enough what I'm doing. Certainly don't have it mastered. So I really appreciate everybody that took a time to comment on that video. And I appreciate that we all kept it civil. I'm going to be around still. I'm still going to make videos on Reason when I have something to say about Reason, which is probably going to be less frequently. I'm probably not going to make videos on Logic because I don't know that much about it. I've been using it for about a year, and I still have to look up tutorials on how to do certain things. I will be still making plenty of videos on making music, on reviewing gear, VSTs, plugins, on music production, and I'm hoping that Reason Propeller Heads comes out with Reason 11 and it's everything I want it to be. It's not like I want to dislike Reason, right? I've spent, I don't know, at least $1,000 probably on rack extensions and all those upgrades of Reason that I've got. I've invested thousands of hours of time into learning Reason. I would like that to be my primary DAW. Unfortunately, it doesn't do what I need it to do today, so I've somewhat moved on, but not completely, because I still find it to be very creative, I still find it to be very inspiring, and I still find it to be very useful. I'm just not tied to it completely. And I think there's a certain maturity that comes in knowing when to use the right tool for the right job. If I'm looking for some inspiration, or if I want to change up my workflow, Reason's the place to go. It's like home. I can do some weird stuff there that I can't do anywhere else, and it can be unpredictable at times, which is really what I like, especially for organic textures or creating things that you're going to sample. At the same time, I realize that machine is not great for everything. You can't really do decent arrangements of full songs. You can't really record audio in a usable final way, at least not full tracks that change across the course of things, but it's really an inspirational beat making tool. It's got all this powerful workflow included with it because of the way it integrates with the pads. It's got great sounds, it's fast, it's fun, but it also has huge shortcomings. It doesn't mean, so I'm not going to use it all the time, but when I have a certain idea for something I want to start, that's a great place to sketch it out, or it's a great place just to jam. And similarly with Logic, Logic is fast and fun, and it works well for me for most of what I want to do, especially if I'm trying to do a lot of MIDI, because the MIDI editing is really robust. It's also really good for comping together multiple audio takes, where it just has a very smart and intuitive auto comp feature that really speeds up the workflow. But it doesn't mean that it's the definitive DAW. If I didn't have a Mac, for example, I don't know that I would leave Reason for Logic Pro. And I don't think that you necessarily should change up what you're doing. If what you're doing works for you, keep doing it. I just wanted to share why using something that I loved and still love doesn't work as well for me as before. And so, I could get that off my chest. That's all I was trying to do. I apologize if I freaked people out, or if I make you feel worse about your choice to use Reason. That was not my call, or that was not my intention. I'm just here to share my 2 cents. I hope this clears things up. Hopefully we're good. And if not, hopefully you still find something down the line useful that I can give to you in terms of learning either about Reason or about making music in general. All right. Thanks so much. Have a good one.